Our next speaker is my dear friend Patty Shenker, and she's been an animal advocate for over 45 years. It started when she decided to live a nonviolent life and became a vegetarian in 1970, and she is now, of course, a vegan. As she learned of all the perverse animal injustices, she got more involved. She co-founded Animal Acres, a farm sanctuary outside of Los Angeles, which is now Farm Sanctuary, and co-founded Free Animal Videos, which gives activists free access to videos about all the animal issues. She has produced videos, run a local spay and neuter program here in LA to curb pet overpopulation, and has contributed to many groups, including getting the LA Zoo elephant Ruby to a sanctuary. Patty has also participated in direct animal rescue in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina and in a legal puppy mill bus. She has been honored by Farm Sanctuary, California Wildlife Center, Stray Cat Alliance, Voice for the Animals, and received a Lifetime Achievement Award from World Fest. Patty Shenker.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and raising your voice and awareness to what I call a global tragedy that is happening in our lifetime. And thank you, Ellen and Brenda, for allowing me to speak. I really love to speak about these things because it's so urgent. Excuse my glasses. Biologist E.O. Wilson wrote, "The creation of diversity came slow and hard. 3 billion years of evolution to start the profusion of animals that occupy the seas. Another 350 million years to assemble the rainforest in which half or more of the species on Earth live now." When you think about how long it took to make Earth's living diversity, and then realize how very quickly we humans are destroying it, we should all be concerned and outraged. To name just a few of the critically endangered species, there are now only 3 northern white rhinos, an estimated 80 vaquitas, 80 panthers, 130 California condors, 500 grizzly bears, 1,000 giant pandas, 3,500 tigers, 7,000 cheetahs, 30,000 lions, 41,000 Asian elephants, 107,000 gorillas, and 150,000 chimpanzees, just to name a few, a very few. Meanwhile, the human population has surpassed 7 billion. Some more disconcerting facts. There are more tigers in the United States than there are in the wild. Rhino horn is now worth more than gold. 30,000 species per year, or 3 species per hour, are being driven to extinction. 10% of Earth's wilderness has been wiped out in the last 20 years. Earth's wild vertebrate population, which comprise of mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish, has declined by 52% between 1970 and 2010. Presently, here in the United States, our government is rounding up and killing our own wild horses and burros to allow ranchers to graze their cattle on our public lands. And we, the taxpayers, are paying for this travesty. Bureau of Land Management just wrote me with this. There are nearly 70,000 horses on public lands in the West, 3 times the recommended level, and nearly 50,000 additional horses that have been removed from the range and are available for adoption. The cost for those unadopted is $50,000 each. We're paying for it. Basically, there are 5 causes for these extinctions: human overpopulation and the habitat encroachment because of it, deforestation and the agricultural uses of the cleared forests, the pet trade, hunting and poaching, and now climate change. I've been asked to speak about the endangered orangutans because I have personally been to Borneo in Indonesia, and I have seen the forests, I've seen the devastation and the palm oil plantations. I have spent time with rescued and wild orangutans, and they touched me deeply. While the pulp and paper industries started the mass deforestation It is the palm oil industry which is driving it at this point. Where orangutans once lived throughout Southeast Asia and China, they are now found on only 2 islands in Indonesia, Borneo and Sumatra. There are presently around 50,000 left in the wild. They are the only semi-solitary primates and the only ones from Asia. All the other ones are from Africa. Orangutans share 97% of our DNA, and we have much in common, including the fact that we both have 32 teeth and are self-aware. They are also the largest tree-dwelling mammals in the world, spending most of their time in them. They have opposable hands like us, but unlike us, they have opposable feet, which makes arboreal living very natural and being on land much more difficult. That is why the forests are so important to them. The forest canopies are their homes. They sleep in the trees. Without them to live in, the orangutans are doomed, and their forests are being cut, burned, and primarily turned into palm oil plantations at an astounding rate. Indonesia has already lost 90% of its forests, primarily because of palm oil. It is estimated that 3,000 to 5,000 orangutans are killed annually for palm oil. Mothers are killed, and their babies are either rescued or sold into the pet trade, which is the 3rd largest black market after weapons and drugs. To make matters worse, female orangutans have the longest time between births of any mammal on Earth, usually 7 to 8 years. Because of this, these mothers usually give birth to 4 to 5 babies in their lifetimes. Their gestation period is 8.5 months, and they are single mothers. The males have nothing to do with child rearing. The babies literally cling to their mothers for the first 7 years of their lives as she teaches them how to live and survive. And the mothers cater to them completely, so another baby would be too taxing. Orangutans aren't the only ones becoming endangered due to palm oil. The Sumatran tigers, pygmy elephants, rhinoceros, clouded leopards, Asian tapir, and many more are in serious danger. People are also negatively affected. Indigenous peoples are losing their land, their livelihood, and even their lives. There is forced and child labor, and this deforestation is a primary cause for climate change, so it affects us all. You see, the forests, and especially the carbon-rich peatlands of Indonesia, are carbon sinks, which means they store large amounts of carbon from the air into the earth. When the forests are cut and peatlands burn, as they must be to grow palm oil, all that carbon is released back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Because peatland stores far more carbon, actually up to 20% more, burning peatland is truly a carbon bomb for the climate and planet. Indonesia is in fact the worst place to be doing this cut and burn due to the prevalence of peatland. In recent years, climate change is causing uncontrollable fires to rage through the national parks in Borneo and Sumatra, forcing many wild orangutans to flee and be saved by human intervention or to be killed. These fires are extremely difficult to eradicate because they simmer underground in the peat, go unnoticed, and then start up again. In addition, climate change has created a new problem. Dr. Brea Tar Pits has recently said, the most important effects of climate change on orangutan adaptation are seen in changing fruiting patterns of trees in the forests of Borneo, patterns that are leaving orangutans hungry and without their primary food. She also asks everyone to boycott all palm oil. Palm oil is now happening in other countries, Africa and South America, and with each of these companies on different continents, the issues remain the same. Palm oil provides jobs and a better economy, but it also displaces indigenous people and minority communities, threatens wildlife to the point of extinction, violates human rights, and causes serious environmental degradation. So why is palm oil so popular? Basically, it's an unhealthy, saturated oil. It is popular due to its high yield, its cheaper price, and its lack of taste. That's for sure. Palm oil is used in over 50% of our products, from beauty and home to our food products. Even more disturbing is that it is used as a biofuel in other countries. Many NGOs are targeting our biggest companies for using what they call conflict palm oil. PepsiCo, Heinz, Campbell's, Kraft, ConAgra, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Nestle's, Mars, Tyson Foods, Kellogg's, and so many others. Even vegan food has palm oil, like Earth Balance, Diet Cheese Blocks, Tofutti, Beast Burgers, and Oreos. Because this is a consumer-driven problem, we, the consumers, must be involved and must demand changes, both here and around the world. We must demand that palm oil is grown on rehabilitated agricultural or degraded land, that palm oil is clearly labeled and not disguised in numerous names, and that no more forests and peatlands are cleared. To the global wildlife, we are their greatest threat and their only hope. So please keep marching, keep protesting, keep educating, and let's save that magnificent, irreplaceable wildlife on this very fragile planet.
What a beautiful, passionate speech by Ms. Patty Shenker. Thank you so much for coming.